I woke up to the sound of my alarm, just like any other day. The first thing I did was grab my phone from the nightstand. As usual, I checked my notifications, texts, Instagram posts, and Twitter updates. But this time, something felt different. I had been hearing a lot about how people are spending too much time on their phones and not enough time living in the moment. I decided to try something new, a day without my phone, a full 24 hours. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I had no idea what I was getting into. I turned off my phone and placed it face down on my desk. At first, it felt like a small victory. I thought to myself, I can totally do this. It's just a day. But as I went downstairs for breakfast, the silence was so strange. Normally, I would be scrolling through Instagram or texting my friends while eating. But today, I just sat there looking at my food. I realized that I didn't even know what to do with my hands. I kept looking at the empty spot on the table where my phone usually sat. The day continued in this weird, awkward silence. I went outside to get some fresh air, but I felt an urge to check my phone. What if I missed something important? I thought, but I quickly shook off the feeling. I tried to focus on something else, like the birds flying above or the way the sun was shining through the trees. I had forgotten how nice it felt to just be outside without the constant distraction of my phone. Later in the morning, I remembered an old hobby of mine, painting. I used to love it when I was younger, but I hadn't painted in months. So I dug out some old paintbrushes and started working on a canvas. It felt good to get lost in something creative again. I could actually feel my mind relaxing as I painted. And I realized how much I missed this simple activity. It was so much better than mindlessly scrolling through social media, where I always felt like I was comparing myself to others. Around lunchtime, my family sat down to eat together. Normally, everyone would be on their phones, texting, or checking social media while barely speaking to each other. But today, it was different. We talked, we laughed, we shared stories about our day. I found myself actually listening to my parents, something I hadn't done in a long time. It was nice to hear about their experiences and thoughts without the constant interruption of a phone buzzing in the background. I felt closer to them than I had in a while. In the afternoon, I decided to go for a walk in a park. I realized that I hadn't taken a walk in ages. I had been too busy taking photos for my social media or checking my phone for messages. This time, I didn't take any pictures. I just walked, feeling the breeze on my face, listening to the sound of my footsteps. I noticed little things I had never paid attention to before. The way the leaves rustle in the wind, the bright colors of the flowers blooming along the path, and the laughter of children playing in the distance. By the time I got home, I felt different. I had made it through a whole day without my phone. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. In fact, it felt freeing. I had rediscovered hobbies I had forgotten about, spent real time with my family, and even learned to enjoy the little moments that usually went unnoticed. As I sat down for dinner, I realized that I had learned something important. I didn't need my phone to be happy. I needed to be present. I needed to connect with the world around me, not just through a screen, but with my own eyes, my own hands, and my own heart. After dinner, I found myself sitting in my room, staring at the blank spot in my desk where my phone usually sat. It was strange to think that something so small could have so much control over my daily life. I resisted the urge to turn it on and decided to try something else instead. I opened a book that had been gathering dust on my shelf. It was a novel my best friend had recommended months ago. but I never made the time to read it because I was too busy. As I read the first few pages, I felt my mind dive into a completely different world. The characters came alive and the story unfolded in my imagination. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Hours passed and I didn't even notice. For the first time in a long time, I felt truly focused on something. It was peaceful, like my brain finally had room to breathe. Later that evening, my mom came into my room with a curious look on her face. Are you okay? She asked. I haven't seen you with your phone all day. I smiled and told her about my experiment. She seemed surprised but happy. That's a great idea, she said. You know, when I was your age, we didn't have phones or social media. We spent our time with friends, reading, or going outside. It's good that you're taking a break. We ended up talking for a long time. She told me stories about her childhood, how she used to play outside until it got dark, and how her family would sit together after dinner to talk. I realized how different things were now. Our phones had taken over so much of our lives that we barely notice the people and the world around us. Before bed, I wrote in my journal something else I hadn't done in years. I wrote about my day, how challenging it was at first, but how rewarding it became as the hours passed. I listed all the things I had rediscovered: painting, walking, reading, and even just sitting quietly without distractions. I also wrote about my family and how nice it felt to have a real conversation without anyone checking their phone every few minutes. The next morning, the experiment was officially over. I turned my phone back on, and the screen lit up with the dozens of notifications. It was tempting to dive right back into the digital world, but I stopped myself. I decided to limit my screen time and only check my phone a few times a day. This experiment taught me something important. Life is happening right now, in front of us, not on the screen. I don't need to document every moment for social media or stay updated on every single post. What I need is balance. Disconnecting from my phone helped me reconnect with myself. my family, and the world around me. Now, I make time for things that truly matter. I still use my phone, of course, but I don't let it control me. Every once in a while, I turn it off for a day and remind myself of what's really important. I hope you liked this story. If you could improve your English a little more, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend. Thank you very much for your support. Take care.